Hey everyone, welcome to Coach Cruise. I'm your host Brad, and today we have a really interesting video because the title of the video is 7 Habits of Highly Effective Cruisers. You may be familiar with the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but we're going to talk about 7 Habits of Highly Effective Cruisers. Now, these are 7 things that many of your veteran cruisers do to ensure that they have an incredible cruise experience once they take their cruise. So let's find out what those 7 things are right after this.
Oh, YouTubers, check me. This is Cookie, your cruise director on the Carnival Horizon down in Miami, Florida. Trust me, number one, you want to follow this man's channel, Coach Cruise, because he's the absolute best coach out here, not about fitness, but about cruising. Trust me, he's going to make sure you have the best time ever because he knows the ins and outs of every cruise that you go on. So click that like, follow button, and share more about this brother right here. Not only is he my coach, but he's my cousin. We'll see you all on the next cruise. Until then, we're out of here.
All
Peace.
Right. Hey everybody, welcome back. You see little Zoe here wanted to join me for the opening of this video. But anyway, let's jump right into this. Number 7 habits of highly effective cruisers. And one of the 7 habits is finding out what the entertainment is on that ship. Now, these could be things like deck parties. They could be playlist productions, the Broadway type shows. They could be the stand-up comedians. They could be the live music that's on board. Effective cruisers find out ahead of time, and we'll give you some guidance into how to find out about that a little bit later in this video. But they find out ahead of time, what shows can't be missed. What live musicians are just amazing that are on board. If the piano bar entertainer is fabulous, they find out about that if they enjoy the piano bar and they make a point that they're going to spend a couple evenings in the piano bar. Or if it's the violin trio, whatever the case may be, if there's a deck party, if you're a white knight person and there's an awesome cruise director on a particular ship, the effective cruiser finds out about these things and they set up their schedule. They create their itinerary to make sure that they hit some of these key entertainment items. So let's move on to number 6. Okay, now depending upon which ship you go on, there are a variety, dozens, and sometimes more than that, food choices that you can make while you're on your ship. Now, you can find out a lot about these things, but from cruise creators like me who have recently been on your particular ship and get some guidance from them on some of the things that they enjoyed. And oftentimes you can see food reviews for the main dining room or specialty restaurants, or even some of your free options, like a Guy's Burger, a Blue Iguana Cantina, things like that. Now, some of your newer ships, if we're talking Carnival and the XL class, they have Shaq's Big Chicken. And, that is one that I highly recommend, for example. So when you go on the ship, you want to have an idea of like, okay, I got to eat here at least once. I got to eat there at least once. I have to try this dessert in the main dining room, and it's only served once. We have to make sure that we go to the main dining room this one day to get this one dessert and things like that. So by doing your research on YouTube and whatnot, you can find out what are some of the food musts that you don't want to miss out on, so you enjoy that cruise experience and you feel like you got everything out of the cruise. You don't want to get off that cruise ship and then find out about some amazing food that you didn't try and say, oh my goodness, that looks so good. Why didn't we try that? So that's why you do the research ahead of time. That's what an effective cruiser would do. Let's move on to number 5. Okay, number 5. Some people often look, especially if they're a new cruiser, and they learn the hard way the lesson that we're going to teach you right now. And that is to know your room location and understand the noise that you could be hearing depending upon where your room is. Now, we made this mistake as early cruisers ourselves, and we once got a room on the 9th floor, which was directly below the Lido deck. And anyway, we had a balcony, but directly above us was one of the main parts of the Lido deck, and people, you could often hear sliding the loungers around, so you would always hear a lot of scraping. We heard a lot of noise from any type of deck party or music that they might be playing. So there was a lot of disturbance, I guess you could say, through the course of our cruise. Especially in the mornings if you wanted to sleep in, and then people were fighting for those loungers and stuff. There'd be those lounge chairs scraping the floor above us and things like that. So that's one of the things you want to look out for when you pick your room location. Make sure you pick a room that is going to be free of some disturbances that you might not like, that might be coming above or below you. So just look at the floor above you, look at the floor beneath you, identify where the shows are, things like that, and make sure that there won't be any interference, and so you can sleep well and enjoy your room location and get to all of the activities that you like. All right, let's move on to number 4. Okay, now number 4, this may be the most important one to some of you, and it's very important to me. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, this should be higher up the list. But number 4 is deals and how to get those deals. Okay, now I'm going to tell you right now, some effective cruisers have learned to do this very well. Now we're going to take Carnival as an example because that's the primary cruise line that I cruise with, but one thing that you can do, let's use an easy round number example. Let's say you book your cruise, your cruise cabin for $2,000. Now, you continue to monitor the cost of that cabin as you get closer to your cruise. And let's say there's a sale or promotion going on, and you look and you say, hey, this same cabin that we spent $2,000 for, you now can purchase for $1,600. What you do, you call up Carnival and say, hey, exactly that. This is $1,600 now. We paid $2,000. What's up? And what they will do is they will give you $400 in onboard credit to make up the difference in that price. So there's $400 you can use, and all you did was monitor the price of your cabin to make sure it didn't drop at any point. Anytime it drops, give Carnival a call, say, hey, the cost of my cabin went down, I want the difference in price, and they'll give it to you in onboard credit. Now, we're not done there. We're going to make you some more money. Okay, now there are other opportunities to save money via gift cards and things like that. The one that I like to use, Allstate is one, but AARP is the one that I use all the time. AARP is often associated with people that are older, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. But you could sign up for AARP as a teenager, for example. Now, once you sign up for AARP, you have access to their member features, and gift cards are one of those features. So if you go onto AARP, you can find gift cards for members only. Now, in these members only section, there is almost always Carnival gift cards available for purchase. They come in $100 denominations and $500 denominations, but they don't cost $100 or $500. They cost $90 or $450. So using that cabin that was $2,000 as an example, you could buy $400 or $500 Carnival gift cards on AARP, but they won't cost you $2,000. They will cost you $1,800. So you could buy 4 of those Carnival gift cards, pay off your cabin, and it only cost you $1,800, but you owed $2,000. $200 savings. That $200 can be used for whatever on your cruise ship. Whether you want to go to, let's say, a couple nights at the steakhouse with you and your partner, that's going to cost you a couple $100 right there if you go 2 nights. So there you go. It's like you got 2 free steak dinners. So little tricks like that, and I have a lot of money saving tips in all of my videos, but I do have that special video if you want to learn more about how to save that money through AARP, and I even walk you through the steps of how to navigate the site to do it in a second video. So you can check out my video library, and this is a great opportunity to say, hey, why don't you hit that subscribe button and like button? And again, we have hundreds and hundreds of videos, all intent on making sure you have the best cruise experience possible, from vlogs to ship tours to tips, cruise hacks, you name it, we got it for you. So hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it very much. All right, let's move on to number 3. All right, number 3, 7 habits of highly effective cruisers. Coming in at number 3 are ports of call. Where are you going and what are you going to do in these ports of call? Now, as a new cruiser, let me tell you, I made some mistakes. We got on a cruise ship sometimes and we didn't know what we were going to do. We just said, hey, what are we going to do when we get to such and such a place? And we didn't know because we didn't have anything booked and we didn't do any research on that particular port. Well, obviously, we've come a long way since then. And we've been to many ports several times, but that doesn't change our enjoyment of that particular port. And every time we leave on a cruise, we know what we are going to do in that particular port, even if it's nothing, right? But if it is nothing, that we intended to do that nothing, right? What you want to do in your particular ports and itinerary could vary from cruise to cruise depending upon what your ports of call are. And let me give you an example. Let's say that you want to have at least one beach day and you have 3 ports of call. Well, you want to identify your 3 ports. And is there any excursion in these particular 3 ports that you just must do, that you were just so looking forward to? Well, obviously you have to do that particular excursion. Now, if they offer some of these same type excursions in each and every port, then what you want to do is when you get to that one particular port with that crystal clear blue water beach, that's your beach day. And I'll give you an example, Grand Turk. Grand Turk, almost every single time we are at the beach, your ship pulls up, you look out the window, and boom, there is this breathtaking, crystal clear blue water beach right out your window, and all you have to do is walk down to the end of the pier, take a left, and you're at the beach. You rent a couple lounge chairs and an umbrella, buy a bucket of beer, you're done. At least that's what I do, or we do, and we love it every time. Now, there are other ports of call that we go to, and just about everyone is going to have a beach somewhere, but sometimes the beach isn't that crystal clear blue water that we all love so much. So that's why we make sure that when we're in those other ports of call, maybe we're not going to do a beach day. Maybe we'll do something different at that particular port of call because they don't have those crystal clear blue waters, right? So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. Do your research ahead of time. Now, one other thing and this is very important, this goes back to deals and saving money. If you know your ports of call, you know your excursion. Let's say you want to do a snorkeling excursion on a catamaran. That's a pretty common excursion, right? It's available in every port. Now, Carnival certainly will have some of those excursions offered. Let's say they do offer a 3-hour catamaran snorkeling excursion. You can do a search on other vendors, right? And say find a 3-hour catamaran excursion. And let's say Carnival is charging $100 for theirs, but you find a separate vendor offering almost the identical experience for $70. Okay, now that's a $30 difference. And you might say to yourself, well, there's a family of 4. We can pay $280 with this outside vendor, or it's going to cost us $400 with Carnival. Now, the example I gave you, it would have cost you $280 for a family of 4, $400 for Carnival. That's a $120 difference. That's a lot of money. Now, Carnival has what they call, and most cruise lines do, have like a cruise excursion guarantee. So in other words, if you find a cheaper excursion with an outside vendor, they have a form that you can fill out online and send to Carnival. They'll ask for the URL code, the name of the excursion, how long the excursion goes, do they offer a lunch? Do they offer open bar? They'll ask you a bunch of questions, and you fill all those, you answer all those questions, and then you share the link to that particular outside vendor. Now, if you've paid for your 4 tickets with Carnival for say $400, they'll send you a little email and say, hey, congratulations. We're going to give you it would be $132 because they give you 110% of the difference. So not only would you get that $120, but you'd get another 10% on top of that, or $12, $132 in onboard credit, because you kept your excursion with Carnival rather than switching to the outside vendor. And there's another $132 that good old Coach Cruise helped you save if you didn't know that already. So let's move on to the next one. All right, now if you are a Carnival cruiser, I have done almost the entire fleet, and I have so many ship tours throughout Carnival. There's a good chance that if you're cruising Carnival, I've already done a ship tour on it. So go check out that ship tour. But if you couldn't guess, that is an effective, one of the 7 habits of highly effective cruisers is to do a ship tour of the particular ship that you are going on. Why do you want to do this? Well, especially in this day and age, with all the mega ships that they have, and even the ships that aren't mega ships might seem like a mega ship to some, especially if you're a newer cruiser, right? And there are so many different levels. There have been times, and as a new cruiser, we made this mistake multiple times, but in our first 3-4 cruises, we didn't walk the ship. Now that would be, the next best thing to a ship tour, but I like to do a ship tour and walk the ship once we get on it, just to confirm what I saw on the ship tour, right? For example, there was a Serenity deck that we didn't go to when we were on one of our first Carnival cruises, and I had felt like I'd walked around the ship and everything, but then on one of the final days, on the final day, we're walking all around and we get up on this Serenity deck, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know this was here. We'd have been here so many times if we'd have known it was here. And we just missed it. And if we had done a ship tour, we'd have seen that that was there, and we'd have enjoyed that experience most of the cruise, right? The other thing about the ship tour that shows you is it shows you where different dining establishments are, or different bars. And you might see some games that you enjoy, or you might enjoy playing some outdoor games, or where the library is, for example. It just gives you some insight into the ship. And honestly, I like watching it because it gets me excited for my cruise. And when I can see the actual ship that I'm going to be on and know that it won't be long before I'm walking around those very hallways within the ship, it gets me excited. It gets me pumped up for the cruise. I don't know if it will do that for you, but I hope it does. And not only that, but like I say, you learn the lay of the ship and exactly all the different places you want to navigate to, especially if you're going on a mega ship like, say, the Carnival Mardi Gras or the Carnival Celebration, or soon the Carnival Jubilee. Those ships are so massive. You really, really need to do a ship tour of those just so you can kind of see where everything is, because it's impossible to do everything on one of those ships in just a week. You need, I would say, at least 2 weeks to really, get into that ship and do everything there is to offer. So you want to make sure that you get the best things that you want to do so you can maximize that week. All right, let's get on to number 1. Okay, the number 1 cruise tip, the 7 habits of highly effective cruisers. Coming in at number 1, in my opinion, is to join a Facebook cruise page for your particular cruise. Now, I can tell you right now, my next cruise, as of the sharing of this video here, is the week of Thanksgiving on the Carnival Celebration. And if I want to go onto Facebook and I hadn't already signed up, what I would do is I would do the search, and it would say Carnival Celebration November 19, 2023. And I would click search. And, if my, cruise didn't pop up immediately, there's a little link below. It says see all. And if you click see all, it'll pop up a whole bunch of other groups associated with that search. And eventually you will find Carnival Celebration, November 19th, 2023, or whatever your particular cruise is. It's almost a guarantee, unless your cruise is like 2 or 3 years away, chances are somebody has started a cruise page. I would say usually if it's a year or less, it's almost a guarantee somebody started a cruise page, unless it's a much smaller ship. If it's a larger ship, it's almost a certainty. Smaller ships, sometimes maybe not, or maybe there's one that's just started up and it's only got a handful of people in it. But as you get closer to your cruise, more and more people join this particular cruise page. And the reason I have it number one is because you're going to have a lot of veteran cruises on that cruise page. And so if you're a newer cruiser or you want to know more about that particular ship, let's say you've never been on it, chances are, sometimes there's over 1,000 people on these particular Facebook cruise pages. Chances are there are people on there, multiple people that have been on that particular cruise ship many, many times. There's people on that cruise page that have done a lot of research about the ports, about the ship, about the entertainment. So getting back to, and I said we'd touch on this, later in the video, but the entertainment on the ship. If you don't know what shows are on the particular cruise ship that you're going on, guarantee somebody in your cruise group is going to know. Somebody has done the research and the behind the scenes legwork to get that information for you, and they are happy to share it with you. Okay, so if you can't find it from somebody like myself that is a cruise creator, you can find it through somebody that you're going to be cruising with on your cruise page. You can get insight on who the cruise director is, who members of the fun squad are, what are some of the names of the bartenders at your favorite bar. There is just a wealth of information that can usually be found by joining one of these Facebook cruise page groups. That is my number one tip on advice, because you can get so much information in that particular cruise group. So those were the 7 habits of highly effective cruisers. And if you are a highly effective cruiser, you've already been subscribed to Coach Cruise. I mean, duh, but if you're new to Coach Cruise and you're just watching this video for the first time today, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on and hit that like on your way out as well. But thank you so much for watching this video all the way through, and I hope to see you on a cruise. And for those of you that are wondering, hey, when are you available more? I do a live show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join me. So if you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you can usually check me out on Tuesday evenings. Very rarely do I have to cancel. Once in a while, because of coaching obligations, that's a coach part of Coach Cruise, I may have to cancel. But for the most part, we're pretty good about keeping our Tuesday routine. So I hope to see you in the comments one day soon on a Tuesday Coach Cruise Live. Until then, I'm your host, Brad, and I will talk to you later, and happy cruising.
Do such an awesome job.
Oh, sure.
And secondly, and this one is huge, like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you know when this man is posting more videos.
I appreciate that you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lee.
I just can't get away from a good time.